Thank you for saying that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm Jason Burke. I have been at Arlington for 6 years. I know, right? I'm a budget, I'm the budget administrator for YG, and I also do a lot with our media ministry, directing sound, cameras, and other technical stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would love to actually go around and we're going to actually share each other's names, stories a little bit later. But we are grateful for their presence. They have, for the last like more than a decade, been consistently journeying with the next generation and thriving. And that's what this is all about, growing and thriving with all generations together, especially in terms of the next generation that's coming up. It was really awesome to see the young couple, the young adults, the children. I mean, this is sign of life, and I'm very glad that they're here with us. But let me go ahead and begin this time. Yeah, go ahead and get yeah, with a word of prayer and ask the Spirit to be with us during our time together. Our Heavenly Father God, Lord, we entrust ourselves under your care and your leadership here for the next few moments as we discuss the dream, the vision of the North Campus of Arlington Seventh Adventist Church. Lord, we pray that you would guide and facilitate our conversation and discussion and may this time be truly meaningful. And, uh, and may we truly commit ourselves to this journey that you're inviting us to. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right, so as we were wrapping up our morning session together, I talked about the churches that were bucking the trend, defying the odds, while many churches in North American division, in North America and the world actually, are aging and shrinking and dying. In fact, how many of you know the median age right now for the Seventh Adventist Church membership here in North America? Oh, very close. It's actually 62. Yeah, yeah, 62. Yeah, yeah. In the last teachers convention, which is Adventist teachers, the Adventist school teachers convention, Elder Ed Wright, who was the former president of Georgia Cumberland Conference, he presented before the teachers of how for the last 10 years the median age rose 1 year every year. So it was 52 10 years ago. Now it's 62. US Census right now, okay, US Census right now uh, has the median age of United States as 38. So we are twice as old as our population in United States. So in the midst of that reality, there was a landmark research by the Fuller Youth Institute that studied churches that were not aging, not shrinking, and not dying. And it was 10,000 hours of research that was done to see what was going on in these churches that made them thrive amidst this pandemic of attrition that was happening with our young people. And in their study, this is the result of their study, the Growing Young book, which outlines the six core commitments that every one of those thriving churches were committed to. And um, in the Adventist Church, in the Seventh Adventist Church, over at the North Pacific Union, we have our own Adventist, Growing Young Adventist cohort that began 2 years ago. And as we speak now, so beginning of 2020, when I came to Southwestern Union Territory, we began a conversation of being partners with the North Pacific Union and allowing our churches in Southwestern Union to be sponsored and and invested in by the union office to go on this journey. So for the 2020 and 21 year, we had 6 churches from our union that went through this journey. One of them, which is Lewisville. Okay, and as I talked to you guys about this morning, it's all about integration and demolishing the walls and the walls of separation and assumption between generations, because there's a lot of assumptions that are made that are just not true, and we just need to be deeply empathetic with each other. um, Let me go ahead and go over to this particular picture here just to let you all know here in Texas Conference what we are doing, um, what Young Adult Ministries is about, and what Growing Young Adventists is all about. All right, so anyone that is born into the Seventh Adventist Church, the first segue into the church is children's ministries, like cradle roll, right? And then you got pre-K, then you have primary, then you have the club ministries, which is adventurers and pathfinders. And these ministries, along with Adventist education, you guys have a school, they all go up to about the either 8th grade or the senior academy's 12th grade. So from about 0 to 12 years old, we got summer camp, we got Adventist education, we got club ministries, we got children's ministries, and then when they turn about 13, from early teen on to about the age of 18, they're in the youth ministries, right? And they have youth rallies and conferences and week of prayers and all sorts of those wonderful ministries. And this is the question that I want to ask. From the ages about 0 to 18, there's tremendous amount of investment into our young people with wonderful ministries and schools. And then what happens at 18? This is the $1 million question. What happens at 18? Mm, mm, yeah. Mm. Once they get the keys to their own car, when they become mobile, like when they are autonomous, as in they can go wherever they want to, pretty much their decision is made up. Oh, go ahead. Mm, mm, yeah. Mm. All kinds of apps and connections that we have no idea about, right? Okay. Well, so pretty much by the time they're 15 or 16, they have myriad of options, and they're pretty much decided if they're gonna keep going to church or not once they get out of the house or the church, because they're going to a campus. So if they decided to go to an Adventist campus, praise the Lord, you got chapel, you got you got RAs, you got you got some system and structure in which they will continue to be discipled and go on the discipleship journey. But we know that now by statistic that 80% of our high school graduates go to a public campus. So that they're not going to Adventist colleges or universities. So what happens to them once they leave the nest, once they leave the home church, you know. And this, go ahead. You guys have something to say? Mm, yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, yeah. That's the reality, right, for some people. Right. Hmm. You went to OU. OU? Oh, yes. Sorry. Oh, they're rivals, huh? Sorry about that. We have a chapter in OU, so that's why. Sorry. Mm, mm, mm. Right. Mm. Yes. Hmm. Mm. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yes. Yes. So this is the first suggestions that I'm making to the North Campus of of Arlington Seventh Adventist Church, because you will be more free to engage the community. In the words of the elder here, one of the communities that you need to be thinking about is UNT, or you, yeah, UNT, okay, University of North Texas, okay. And then you you have UT Dallas, UT Arlington. You have many of the colleges and universities around here, where for 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 a local church, it's a tremendous mission field. We have our Adventist students that are on those campuses, that are looking for communities, that are looking for support. And if the church rises up to that mission, there is that connection that is made, which prevents the attrition that's likely to happen. Because I believe connection is the antidote to attrition, right? And long before they actually graduate from even high school, and this is what we've been trying to do, is we want the churches to be intentional about who's graduating. Hey, we know you're graduating this year, and we're just wanting to pour into you, invest in you, and support you. Where you plan to go? And getting that information ahead of time and connecting them to the campus. So, for example, if there's anybody in this church that's going down to Texas A&M, the most logical thing you can do is to connect that person to Reba, who is the president there, because there's a community that they can belong to long before they arrive on campus. And we have 9 campuses in Texas currently that have a chapter. And we are wanting to do everything we can to connect our high school graduates to a community they can belong to before they get there, so that that connection prevents them from a lot of heartache. A lot of potential future spouses can also be found in our Adventist chapters. Not that we want to be Adventist tingle, um, but we do want to set up connections in which they can find love and support and continual empowerment. So that's one aspect of it. So we have our Texas Young Adult Ministries here. We have an advisory members that are composed of our student presidents and our area pastors and some recommendation of young adults in those areas. So when they graduate from high school over here, with this advisor in place, and we're wanting there to be a great communication pipeline that happens from the local churches. And when Pastor Eugene gets here, we want to do everything in our power to connect Pastor Eugene to our area leaders, and then he can definitely let us know who's graduating, how they can be connected, and through the Texas Adventist Christian Fellowship, the connection is made. If they're going to Southwestern or Southern Andrews, PUC, wherever they're going to, we can also connect them so that whatever gifts that they have can be utilized and they can engage on campus and be active when they get there, right? Because even in our Adventist campuses, and this is another survey that was done at Andrews University, and the question simply said, how many of you are currently involved in a Sabbath school small group? Only 48% of them were belonging into a small group. So even if you're in an Adventist campus, you might not belong to a group, but we do want to make those connections before they get there. And what we've done is try to create mentorship vespers in which our college and university students, they actually meet these high school graduates before they get there, and they begin to pour into them. Hey, this is how you fill out the application. Here's some things that you need to know when you get on campus. And all of that conversation is building bridges from our students that are graduating. And then usually after college and university, when they graduate from any university, what happens? Hmm. 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 Right, right. See, adulting is fully in session while you're in university, right? You're over 18. You're making some career choices. You're choosing your major. You're actually seeking potential spouses for the future. And normally, what happens after a graduation in Adventist universities is you get a diploma. Nice knowing you. Have a nice life. You know, pretty much it, right? But we want to prevent that from happening. So what just took place 2 days ago is we had a senior luncheon over at Southwestern Adventist University, and we had gathered all the seniors and said, "Hey, this is not goodbye. This is not last supper. This is not last lunch. We want to journey with you to provide you ample support for resume writing, cover letter writing, seeking jobs and internships, and connecting you to a professional that's ahead of your career journey so that you can have a community that way." And what's beautiful is in the Texas conference and Southwestern um, territory is we there was a movement that was birthed by a young adult. His name is Tim Kosaka. He's the marketing director over at Southwestern University. He founded and created a network, a community of Adventist young professionals. So if you go to adventistyoungprofessionals.org, you have myriad of different groups from all over the world, actually. There are currently over 5,000 active users. And for any college graduate and university students that are graduating, they can plug into and belong to a network or a group where people are taking their work and their faith seriously. And in this coming fall, what we're doing in Texas conference is we're gathering all the Adventist young professionals, single or married, and we're gathering them down in Austin. It's going to be Labor Day weekend. They wanted that city because it's trendy. Uh, so I said, what about Dallas? Where's the love for Dallas? But they said, we want to go to Austin. So we're going to Austin, but that's going to be a group of young professionals that are post college and post university that are going to be networking and mentoring and just feeding each other, right? So why do I say all of that, all right? If these ministries after the age of 18 can, the way these ministries can flourish is for local churches to be the bridges and the connection for these networks and communities to develop. And the churches that have what I would believe is that would have the highest success rate in providing spaces and ministries for these young people are the churches that are growing young. Because what are you doing? You're committing yourself to key chain leadership, developing leaders. You're empathizing with their journey, and we're going to kind of go over that now after. You're taking the message of Jesus seriously. What does that mean? We're taking both Jesus is both law and grace, meaning that there is both standards and then there's also the grace and mercy of God. We are wanting to make sure that our young people see the romantic kiss between law and grace. We're not extremes. We're neither liberalic or conservat, whatever the word is here. Okay? But we want Jesus to be at the center. We want to be churches and communities where we take his message very seriously. We don't dilute it, right? And then we are providing warm communities because warm is the new cool, right? Especially from the 90s, cool is the new warm. Now warm is the new cool. And then we have prioritizing young people and families everywhere in the church so they can flourish, right? And we're becoming the best neighbors, which is community outreach. So if the North Campus of Arlington Church disappeared tomorrow, the community will deeply miss it, right? They're like, oh man, you know. So when the church, with generations that are integrated and collaborating together and connecting these generations together, become the church that God wants the church to be, what happens? We take the three angels' message to the world. It takes all of us to finish the work and usher in the second coming of Christ, Maranatha, right? So that's the picture that I wanted you guys to have in your mind as we engage in this conversation. Okay, go ahead. Oh, oh, I thought you had a comment there, so you were raising your hand. So that is the setup that I wanted to give you, a picture, a mental map, a picture of where we're going, because in the midst of every ministry that exists in the local church setting, we need to be going somewhere, right? And the direction that we're going is we want all generations to thrive and grow together and finish the work together. In order to do that, we need to connect the dots, the missing pieces, and become the bridge that God wants us to be. And that's where the growing young Adventist journey comes in. The growing young Adventist is every commitment that is made to becoming the church that connects the generations. So, from this moment onward, I want us to kind of engage in some form of conversation and dialogue of how the Lewisville or the North Campus here, in your I guess journey of dreaming and also envisioning the future, what are some things that you had in mind, and if you can kind of share that, and if you have any questions or any follow-up comments of what was shared, I think this is a time for us to kind of share that together. Okay, so I will let the elder begin. Oh, he's- or anyone who wants to begin, you can. Sure, you can begin for him if you. thought it was just prank for a second there. So.
And with the added complexity of doing things online, I think that's really hard. Like, our church has not been successful at trying to restart Pathfinders online. We don't have the leadership, we don't have buy-in from parents, kids. I was the Pathfinder director for, I don't know, like a decade, and we had a vibrant group for a long time. And that was, as our kids were coming up through the ranks, it was such a special time, and we had so many great moments with all the kids in our church. And I think that's partly how we were able to just keep that engagement even as they got past the 15, 16, until they basically graduated from high school. Most of them were involved. So I guess we're all ears for ideas of how to restart or make it work in this way of life. It's different now. What do you want to say? Yeah, you woke up.
Yeah. Well, it's like waking up in the middle of the movie and trying to figure out what the plot is. But I would say that one of the things that's exciting about coming out of COVID is, Rick Haley, there isn't any headwind. The only headwind we have is really finding momentum. And so I think that, people that are coming back, and I'm hoping more people start coming back, but it's kind of like we've got this chance to rebirth, not as an old church, but as a vibrant church. And so I think that there's lemonade all around us, and we can't see the lemons. We just got to focus on the lemonade. And what you just said, that this is, we can become that sanctuary for UNT. We can become that, for the what's the community college that's right here in Corinth? NCTC. I mean, we got, a number of our kids. We got actually one of our young guys, Jason Shogi and Coco. I don't know if you know Jason Shogi, but he basically has a business that goes and sells basically paintball and other kind of outbound adventures on our campuses.
Not just in Venice, but any campus.
Any campus. And so, but he's on these campuses, and one of our young guys is partnered up with him and helping sell that stuff. I just think that there's tons of great opportunities. And we just said, hey, listen, we're going to quit looking inward. We're going to start looking outward. God's going to open up doors.
You got something to say? I don't know where to go.
I don't know if microphone is needed or not. Thank you. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to point out a different dimension of the problem if we speak about young people leaving church and what is worth leaving God. All the infrastructure, the campuses, the network of groups, etc., it is cool. The structure of worship, it is good for keeping people who have internal assurance about the truth. But the problem why young people are leaving God is about losing that assurance about the truth. They stop believing. And I urge you, if you want, to check the book Already Gone, which is Already Gone, that's the name of the book, which is the result of a big study which was done here in America
by a research specialist, Britt Beamer, I believe, and it was in collaboration with Ken Ham from Answering Genesis. They found that the number one reason why young people in high school age and later in college, but it starts in high school age, stop believing Bible is the faith is undermined in first 10 chapters of book Genesis. You understand what I mean? From childhood, they're taught about creation, but then in high school, the world start telling them that these are folk tales from the church, but here we are showing you the real thing. And unfortunately for the church is shy of difficult questions. I speak now as a person who went the same way in opposite direction. I was atheist, but through science I found God, and I understood that the evolutionary concept doesn't work and why it doesn't work, etc. How it is in astronomy, in biology, in physics. There are so many things. The world doesn't teach those things, but if you just take a course of physics, astrophysics, biology, chemistry, you can find those things. We in our churches must raise those problems. Instead of hiding from the problems, if by hiding, you don't really hide because the world teaches your children. That's why we need to raise those problems. We need to make seminars, classes in science, in churches, so that our young people go to their high schools, then to their universities, better understanding these points than their teachers. In that case, you know what? If you are convinced that Bible is truth on intellectual and scientific level, it is not just about music, it's not about friends, it's about you understand that's how it is, but you cannot do anything about it. Even if you are in full atheistic country, you cannot throw it away from your brain because you understand it.
I don't know if I had anything to add that anyone didn't say already. But, kind of what Sherry said, though. My kids were involved in adventures, and in the last 2 years, we had a big club, but it's died out. And I am committed to them still being here, but do they feel the same about it that they used to? Probably not. So, as of right now, they come because mom is here and wants them to be here, but that's not going to be enough for them in the long run.
This is for the online people. How many people do we have online?
Zoom.
Oh, this is Zoom? How many people we have on Zoom? 2? So if they have questions, it'd be good for them, you guys to pipe up their questions too. All right. I have a question for you. You said you went to an Adventist college, and I'm assuming the Adventist college had a lot of spiritual activities and so forth.
Not so much. I went to Florida Hospital College, which has been renamed since
Okay,
then.
yeah.
But it's in the middle of Orlando. So
Right.
most of our students, a lot of them were secular students.
Right.
So it really felt a lot like a secular college in
Right.
a way. We had Vespers on Friday nights.
Right.
But it didn't have the same feel as your normal Adventist university.
Okay, so young professional, I'm assuming here in the area
Mhm.
with kids and so forth. Why are you here at Lewisville?
I moved to Lewisville when I was a young adult still. And Greg and Sherry were here, along with some other people that are not around as much now. But my husband and I, at the time, I was going to visit around, and we came here and felt very welcomed. And I thought, well, we should still check out some other churches. And my husband was like, no, this is our church.
Yeah.
And because of the relationships that we were able to build here, that's what kept us here.
Okay, so
And we live in the area too.
okay, and so before you went off to Florida Hospital College, or I guess Advent Health.
This is a
University.
new place for me, and we never lived here before.
Never here.
I moved here after graduating college and
Okay.
didn't have any ties here.
And so you blame these guys for you still being here?
Yeah.
It's all their fault.
But Oh,
I got involved in church myself too.
okay, so you got involved in church.
Done praise team all the years I've been here pretty much. And then as I started having my kids, I got involved in children's ministry.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I was raised an Adventist, yes.
So she's got the DNA.
She's got that.
I've
The
got
microchip?
that vegetarianship.
She was obviously convinced. I was just saying, she was obviously convinced, like he was saying, that the Bible was true.
Oh yeah.
So there was a foundation.
I've never
there.
doubted belief in God. I was, like I said, a normal, wandering young adult, like trying to find my way. So not always following what I knew to be the right way, but I didn't disbelieve.
Well, if I may, it seems that this whole meeting is about how to keep young people in the church.
Yep.
And as a young person myself, I can tell you that there are 1,000 distractions you're fighting against.
For sure.
It's an uphill battle 100% of the way, and you have to be 100% involved and committed to doing this. And honestly, I don't know how to get started.
Yeah.
All I know is that in church, we have a lot of legalism in a lot of places, and it's insincere, and that forces kids away. Whereas you said also that the believing, if that's the major factor, all of these are minor ones that come in right underneath it. Because if kids don't believe immediately that they are saved by grace, and that's the only thing, then they're going to see God as mean, just the way the devil wants them to, and they're going to leave. Because what's the point in staying in that anymore?
I've seen the legalism sometimes myself. I've been told comments that would discourage.
I know I brought up something very interesting, and he said that you're formerly an atheist and a scientist, because he's a physician and a computer guy, and I've known people similar to that where they came from the world and then went forward and became believers. And if you could figure out a way to tie that up to teaching kids, making it something where it would draw them, it might be something that brings a lot of our young people back to the church. Because science is the true, science is truth. But scientists have it all followed up. I mean, I've studied all the levels of science, and earth science is where they tell everybody that the world is 10 billion years old. And the people that actually get down in there and study it, they're saying, wait a minute, it didn't just come out of nowhere. It had to be designed. It had to be created. Have to use that as something to draw them back.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, the problem is that I was making some seminars in New York, I remember, about creationist science. And I found that, like, simple questions, why do we find the bones of dinosaurs by radioisotopic dating 100 million years ago? Like, and Adventists cannot answer that simple question. And we should explain to people how those radioisotope analysis works. We should explain things about the galaxy and the place of our solar system as galaxy. And actually, like, every 15 million years, there will be like huge radiation killing everything. There's so many things which, like, very simple questions which evolutionists ask us, and like people often cannot answer. And there are many things which we can ask them, they will not be able to answer. We should teach those things to young people. Besides helping our guys in universities and their colleges to talk to their peers, it will help them also to understand better what they are taught. Because in science, as brother you told, there is like lots of propaganda mixed with real scientific method. The propaganda mix there, and we should teach them how to distinguish real experimental science from propaganda.
Yeah, before we actually go further into this conversation, I just want to mention that everyone's on a journey. Everyone is on a different kind of journey. And one of the things that actually came up recently with the growing growing young Adventists and growing with is that our young people some are learners, as in straight up learning, like PhD. Some are explorers, as in they need to explore with different concepts. And like we said, we shy away from difficult conversations and questions. Actually, there was a young adult that actually talked to me about how he went to a class in university teaching on literature, and he heard something that was contrary to what he had been taught and learned at the church setting. So during summer break, he went back home and he was in a Sabbath school class, and he was talking to the Sabbath school teacher and raised this question. And you know what the Sabbath school teacher did? We don't do that here. No questioning. And that young person just left the church, never to come back. So what we're all about is creating ample spaces and opportunities for people to explore, learn within the context of the church. If they want to sleep, they can sleep here. If they want to learn, they can learn here. If they want to explore, they can explore it here. What people are looking for is community that will accept their journey as valid journeys, and the whole environment cultivation, creation of spaces and communities where that is allowed is what we're after. So I just wanted to point that out as we're talking about this. You have something? Yeah.
I think that there's a number of things that we do as adults that are just so disrespectful to the young. One of them is we make an assumption that they're not getting deep, that they're not thinking through, key issues or things of that sort, and we need to accept the fact that, number one, they look at it differently. They put the pieces together differently than I put together the pieces. I've got 60 years of putting together pieces, and I think the puzzle needs to look this way. And they've got 18 years, 16 years, 20 years, whatever else of putting these pieces together, and they have found a new way to make the puzzle work. And I just, that's the first thing is stop and listen. I think that, Alan, when we were doing the Growing Young, I had all these ideas. I was getting so excited, and I think that you texted to me, said, maybe just stop and let it happen. Or something like that. But it was absolutely perfect, because it was like, you be quiet and let the young know what's there. Tell me more. And then the other thing that I find that and our son is, I absolutely love him. I love my daughter and all these kids. They're just amazing. But I love just how genuine Garrett is. He doesn't mix words. He talks you straight. He doesn't talk disrespectful, but he tells you what's going through his mind. And one of the things that he's just challenged with is how disingenuous church is. It's that church. He comes here and he sees too many times the what do you call it, the structure. He sees the tradition. He sees, we kind of say the same thing, but we're not necessarily connecting, and we're not getting real. And I think that's one of the things that I think we need to challenge ourselves is are we really being real? And is it what we're walking our life with on during the week, or is it really just something that we're showing up with Sabbath morning?
Can I ask another question? What's your name, sir?
Samuel.
Samuel?
Yes, sir.
Samuel? So Samuel, here's my question. Is there any questions coming on Zoom? We're glad that you're here, Zoom. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so how long have you been here at this church?
I don't know. Long time. 9 or 10 years. I'm getting two different answers here. I don't know.
Yeah, nine.
Somewhere 9.5.
You get a word from the booth there.
Yeah.
Either side. Okay, so this is my question. Okay, so if I understand y'all correctly, COVID's really kind of shook everything down, right? So you're down to kind of like a restart or a reframe or whatever. Okay, so
Beginnings.
new beginnings.
Yeah.
So on one side, which I think it's legitimate, we can grieve the loss of those that have stepped away or have transitioned or may have other agenda items that have not brought them here. But it gives you kind of a seed group. So let's just say for instance, Samuel, if you were going to design this place, okay? I mean, we're just whiteboarding. I
You
mean,
may not want to know the answer to that.
Oh, well, let's see if you were going to just design this place, okay? All right, now we can talk methodology, right? But what I heard you say, I didn't hear you say methodology. I heard you say that there is this seed of legalism that really is repellent. It's like young people repellent. So if you had a chance to, okay, if anything was possible and nothing was impossible, what would be your redesign for this particular community? Beyond the words, we can call it Lewisville, we can call it North Campus, South Campus, East Campus, it's relative, whatever. But if you had a chance to design it, what would be one of the first things that you say? Let's try this.
That's a really open-ended question.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
More stuff where you ask kids this.
More
First off, ask kids more questions, make them think.
Yeah.
And don't ever tell them, well, you can go ahead and tell them, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
But don't tell them, well, just believe and move on.
Right.
Because they're not going to do that.
Okay. So
Just many things that are the way kids are treated in a church from a young age to when they feel like they're ready to move into the adult phase, and we push them back into the kid phase and go, no, you're still back there.
yeah.
And
So-
I think the more we include people,
Right.
the better off things will be.
So for if just not going to put you out there too far, but so for
Go
Samuel,
ahead. Go ahead.
so you're a high school senior now?
Yes.
High school senior, you got the keys, you could drive off wherever you want to go and so forth. So just as a hypothetical, what would keep you going here once you have your capability to go anywhere in the DFW? What would be things that would keep you going here? Not the stuff, I know there's stuff that repels you from church in general, but what would keep you going here?
It's hard to find a church that believes close to the same way I do.
Yeah.
So I think that's largely going to keep me, maybe not in this specifically this church,
Right.
but a church, because it's good to fellowship with people.
Okay.
But we also have to understand that for young people, their fellowship, that school, I mean, we have here, especially at this church, a stranger walks in the door where they're 18 years old. There's 3 people here around the same age as them?
Yeah.
At school, 150?
Yeah.
Where they have more connection.
Right.
They're way more invested into their life at school.
Right.
They're never going to think twice about this place.
Right.
How are you going to draw them in?
No idea.
Well,
Not yet, at least.
I'll share with you what I'm hearing from you is that the thing that's going to keep you here is people that share a faith belief with you. So there's a kinship there. So you go to another Adventist church, you would hope that they have a grace-filled orientation to Jesus, as opposed to the repellent, which is, legalism and judgmentalism and so forth. Okay, so hold on to that thought. Excuse me. No,
He wants to talk to you.
I have a question for you. How old are you?
7.5.
How old?
7.5.
7.5. Okay. And where will you be in 10 years?
I don't know.
Is that true?
Probably.
Like 10 years. Can you think about
17.
17 and a half? Where will you be?
I don't know.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Hello. Would you put a mic to her? How old are you? No, she's not. She's not going to say. Would you speak as her spokesperson? How old is she?
She is 10.
She's 10.
Oh, see, you got to get her age right, bro. She's 10. Where is she going to be in 7 years? High school.
High school somewhere.
Sorry, high school somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what Pastor Yang was sharing with us just a moment ago. If you wait till they're Samuel's age, they've already decided. Right now, he's a free agent. Right? He's a free agent. He hasn't declared OSU or OU. He's a free agent, right? By the time Samuel right now, he's, although he doesn't like legalism, he's judging all y'all. Should I stay or should I go? What will be my faith commitments later on? Because formatively, okay, and what's your name, ma'am?
Laura.
Laura. To Laura's point, you want your young adults to be shopping around, right? They're differentiating from their parents. So Samuel's right now getting a lot of feeds from left and right. I'm not sure who's the devil or the angel, but
You don't want to know.
I think it's obvious.
I'm still trying to find out.
when he graduates from high school, to which he has pretty much a kind of a circle of people that believe like him and have faith like him, and he knows their values and they know his values. They go to this gentleman's realm, where everyone is also differentiating from their family of origin, right? So and he doesn't know how long he's been in the system.
Just been here.
Yeah, he's just been here. But right now, he's thinking through at this juncture in his life, this way or this way. Who's going to be most influential in my life? And you want them to be able to do that, okay? That's why you have a liberal arts college. That's why you send them to OSU or OU, right? But the challenge is, if you don't start over here with this free agent, he was that way before. The challenge for this little seedling folks here is that, and you hear this, it's almost meant as a term of endearment. Oh, but you'll always be our little boy, right? Oh, the look. It's like the full head turn, right? That's true. You will always have that. But if we do not create space in this church for Samuel to enter into here as a grown man, then any of those aspects can be potentially a trigger, right? So yes, you have UNT, you have all these places. I'll tell you right now, that's a good crowd to go because they want pizza. To your question, how do you draw them in? Food. Food. Adventures, do you like food? Okay, food. Okay? But and when you have food with them, it's not just simply providing them food, but to your point, Greg, is you sit in those potlucks, in those pizza feeds in place, and you let listening be your mode of operandi, right? Because to Samuel's point, if I'm hearing you correctly, the places where they're heard and they're listened to are the places that they'll gravitate to. I don't think you need to worry about a lot of people right now, because at this juncture, this guy needs a lot of attention. Got a lot of attention from mom, but the developmental stage that he's in right now, correct me if I'm wrong on this, Elder Yang, the developmental stage that he's in right now, he's now imprinting each of you. He says, oh yeah, I know that Jeff guy, right? In his mind, he's saying he's a cool guy, right? Right?
Hopefully.
Well, okay, what you said there is really important. Hopefully, right? But before he turns 14, it needs to be solidified in his mind that if things go wrong and mom's, having one of those mom moments, he's on mom's mother nerve, he needs to know that he can go to Jeff with the cool stash and talk to him about stuff that he's not ready to talk with mom about, right? Right? So part of the genius of the Growing Young material is trying to reframe us into the mindset that at this juncture, what is he doing? What are you doing? Are you gaming? What are you doing? Yeah, gaming, right? Right? So when he's gaming, what does that mean? Could mean he's bored. What else? What else could it mean?
We're not interested.
Right? We're not interesting, which we could probably admit, right? So what do you like about that game?
It's because this is one of my favorite games in Roblox, and it's also something that happened in real life. It's this Titanic game, and well, it's fun. You get to build the ship, and
You get to build stuff with it?
yeah, look, what's this?
Oh. You get points for building stuff?
Here you get money,
Money?
and well, you get new rooms, and you can get new elevators, and no.
You're building it. You don't want to see it sink.
Sink.
Sink?
So it's one game he plays is Titanic, and the ship actually sinks.
Oh. Is this the sinking game?
No, but there it's Roblox, and that's oh wait, I can show you it.
Okay. Hold on to that thought for a second. What just happened there? What just happened there?
Yeah, you got into his interest.
What? Do you like Titanic or do you like ships in general? Ships in general.
Titanic is like my favorite.
Right, but the Titanic is one that drowned. Or are there other ships that you like battleships, or do you like sailboats? Sailboats? Okay,
Here, look,
okay.
the Titanic is sunken. Look,
Oh, there's people freezing.
yeah, Kupasi actually gets you,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know when it's gonna get you. You never know when.
You never know when.
And
That's
then
how.
you have the lifeboats that you can, if you're a crew member, you can release them.
Can you use your money from your other Titanic to buy lifeboats?
No,
No, it's only in that game.
no, you don't have to buy lifeboats in this game.
Oh, okay.
But you have to get on a lifeboat.
Yeah, you do have to get on a lifeboat. Otherwise,
You would
like
hope-
Jack, you're going to suffer.
yeah,
Right.
in full.
I think so. There are
Totally could
conspiracy
have fit on
theories.
that door.
Right, absolutely. I mean, there is scientific proof that he could have fit. I've looked at the diagrams.
Visuals, I measured the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
He could have fit, but would it have flipped with his weight on it? That's what I wondered.
Okay, I think
Okay.
we're off subject. But no,
Okay, boy.
I watched it, and it actually flipped in it when he tried to get on.
That's what I was.
It would have flipped.
It could have.
Oh man. Well, then I guess Rose was right. All right. So what has happened here to our conversation?
It kept going because.
It kept going. Why?
Because you were interested in what he wanted to talk about. You weren't directing it.
Okay. So here's the thing: is that when we were talking about the stuff that we're talking about, which is super important, he wasn't engaged, right? But to Samuel's point, the moment we started talking about stuff that he was interested in and talking about stuff that was meaningful, he opened up. And I love this premise that Samuel said, okay, if I may. Remember when you said that here? There are churches that talk about young people and talk about, well, what do we do? How do we do it? And so forth. They may not have the complete answer, but they have some opinions and some ideas. And I would say to your point here, see, the thing is, I love how you turn your head completely towards your mom and so forth. In this conspiracy, mom can pal up with older sister here and be another voice other than her mom in a way that her mom can't speak to her right now because she's getting the hand. Right?
Sometimes.
Jeff, to the degree to which, he pays a little bit of attention to little guy there, can be there for little guy in a way that maybe mom can't right now, or dad's not available to him right now, right? Yeah, so I think there's some dynamics there that, if I'm hearing you, Samuel, part of the real challenge is we're looking back and we say, man, back in this day, we had this. back in those days, we had great flesh pots in Egypt. I'm not saying that Pathfinders was flesh pots, okay? But I think that part of the trouble that we have in the wilderness is we remember how it was back then. But you've got right now these two, right? And to your point, which you brought up earlier, these two, if you start developing faith and community with them as older adults, you'll create the connections that allow them in the midst of their differentiation in graduate school, in university, in high school, will allow them to have relationships where they go, man, Jeff, they're talking about relativism. They're talking about stuff in the Bible. And in my class, my professor is an all-out atheist. What do I do with that? You need to have enough relational turgor with little guy here for him to be able to have that dialogue with you, or have the seed that you put into him in the softball game or playing Titanic. Which Titanic is that? Is that Titanic 1 or 2? What do they name it? You call it indoor Titanic? Ideal Titanic? Okay, so which one do you like better? Which one?
The Roblox Titanic. You know why it's my favorite one?
Which one?
The Roblox Titanic. You know why it's my favorite one?
Oh, really?
Because they play the violin while the ship is going down.
He loves the violin.
That is cool, actually.
It's awfully
You
cinematic.
play the violin. We're all gonna die. Continue to have the orchestra play.
That's historical.
It was. There was to play to warn everybody, but they didn't know what's going on. Anyway, yeah.
All right, so my last question here, and I'm sorry. What's that? Oh, we get to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's play it now?
You don't
Oh,
get to play it.
oh,
That's the ropes. They actually have the ropes.
oh, they're
that
ropes.
goes with the staff.
Where's the violin players though?
It doesn't show them, but it's gonna stop playing.
Where? I'm ready for it to start playing so we can share it with the Zoom people.
Okay.
Ready? Where? Let me know when it comes up. Okay.
Well, if you notice what happened right there was you showed interest in what he was interested in,
Right.
and he came up and talked to you about it afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we should be doing.
Well,
That's what you're saying, and I think you just showed that it works beautifully.
well, see, that's the thing, because if we went to her story, that's what you all did.
I guess we've been to churches where we were visitors and try to get out of there as soon as possible because like nobody talked to you. But I still remember, and it was many years ago, but I still remember, I think Greg coming up and like, hey, I'm Greg. Welcome to our church.
Wait,
Like,
wait,
what's
let
your
me
name?
let me redo that. Hey, I'm Greg. Was that what? Okay. All right, hold on. Here it is.
I don't have another of the songs, but this is one of them. It was taught during the best sport thing. I have to get to the back of the ship. They have the.
That sounds like a sinking song to me, man. It's like, yeah.
Is it?
Oh, hold on. This is the best part because there's multiple violins.
It's awesome, Julian.
Okay, what happened there just that moment with Sister? What happened with Sister just that moment when we were playing violins? She reached all the way over Mom's head. Oh no, yeah, we're talking about her, but she reached all the way over Mom's head to see what's going on, right? Because we're playing violins. Do you play violin? No? You play violin?
No,
No.
we're thinking about.
Yes. Suzuki? You play violin? Okay, what just happened right now? Okay, hold on, and then we'll get to your point. What just happened right now? We started off with a game that for many folks, if someone's on their phone, you think, oh, they're fine. I won't mess with them. They're in their own private world. We find out a little bit more about him. He's into boats, not necessarily the Titanic. He's into the sailboats, right? So as far as boats are concerned, he's not necessarily into crash and burn, right? But mom offered to us something else. What did mom offer? He likes Titanic because they play violins. Oh,
I like the style of the ship.
the style of the ship. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and Samuel plays violin. What just happened there? Right? On something that we would have never discovered except we would have listened just for a sound bite, right? So the beauty of this is that, what, about 70 seats in here? Okay, question. Are you part of an orchestra or a quintet or anything like that? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, so this facility right now, other than your sign outside, which is in a little disrepair, it could be a hall for recitals or concerts or Suzuki performances. Is that possible? I mean, in my mind, we move from he likes he likes the music on his game to bringing a Suzuki program here. Would you be interested in a Suzuki program if there was a Suzuki program that showed up here? And how many seats do we have in here? 130. And then you have, each kid has roughly 2 parents. In some blended families, 3.5 parents, right? No time at all, you could be packing out this place. And you know who has planned this recital and this connection with Suzuki? Do you know who has to do that? No. He's already got connections with them. I mean, they discontinued what they were doing, but in a hot second, he knows exactly who in the string community is into that or whatever. Or you may go into some other derivative, right? Some other derivative. What did you play, or what do you play? Violin. I'm a little mesmerized by KO on the cello in regards to what he's doing. But that's my thing. What is your thing? Classical. Like you. Really? Yeah. You could be in the underbelly of the Titanic when they were having those parties.
Right.
That's where you'd be. So bluegrass, not any hee-haw like home fiddle. Yeah. Okay. And how metropolitan is Lewisville?
It's actually getting more and more. There's a pretty nice concert hall here, and there is a local orchestra.
Is there a little bit of country still here, or has country?
For sure.
So if you had a shindig here,
Yeah.
would you be willing to play country fiddle for a shindig here? Okay, all right. What just happened there? As opposed to Samuel saying, hey, these things need to happen in the church. And what do we typically do? Okay, we're going to get a committee together. That's right. Right. We're going to get a committee together. We're going to find out what is the proper music that can be played in the church. We're going to do that. You just sucked the life out of what was possibility. But right now, and I appreciate the deflection, Samuel, he knows a couple of things about this generation we don't know. Anyone else play fiddle or violin here? Fiddle, violin, cello, clarinet. None.
I enjoy listening classical music, but I
Yes. Yes. Fiddle?
No instruments, my voice.
No. Oh. Okay. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. So, you play guitar? Okay. Okay. So, question. Question. Okay. So, if there was a shindig here and there was a country fiddle piece that was in your range and so forth, you'd be okay with playing it? Yeah. Okay. All right. So, in regards to worship, you do alto or soprano? Alto, Linda Ronstadt? No, I mean, that's not very country. Is there someone better country? So you could do country? Could you do country?
Sure, I could. I don't.
She's definitely
Oh, Carrie Under. Oh, listen.
That's way ambitious.
Okay. All right. What just happened here? What just happened?
Collaboration.
Okay. How did that band get started?
because it's the Titanic's violin.
Okay. Sometimes, to your point, Greg, that you shared earlier, sometimes we need space. We need space to grieve the losses of the pandemic. We need space to grieve what used to be. But the challenge for us, and the challenge that part of STEM's legalism, is we're all looking to how it used to be and how to create those things, right? But out of this time, by listening to a couple of pieces, we say, oh yeah, I can play the spoons. I don't know. I can find a way to be involved, right? I can find a way to do that. And then all of a sudden you have a band with Carrie Underwood playing a country song for a shindig, okay, I'm going to get off this little kick here because I'm getting really excited. I'm going to come to the shindig to which you can invite all the students at UNT for brisket or veggie brisket or beyond brisket. Right?
I don't think brisket can.
Hey, I bet you anything there's someone here that knows how to cook some good Southern cooking, and it won't matter whether it was killed or harvested. It would be really good, right? And just do it for the sake of feeding some college students and providing a country night, right? Okay, so my point here, getting back to Samuel, is if there was a shindig at this location to which there was country music being played and you were a part of it, would you be willing to invite your friends to something like that? Okay, if you were playing just one piece, I'm not asking you for a whole bunch, but if you're playing some country portions to one of those songs, would you be excited or kind of laissez-faire in regards to inviting your friends? Okay. Well, the thing is that once they come here, and this is in the research. We'll turn it back over to the research. And I appreciate your indulgence on this, Samuel. The research has shown that if a young person has a positive interaction with an adult or someone older than them, then they do this generalization. That one interaction, they say, wow, the Seventh-day Adventist Church is a really great place off of that one interaction. However, Dr. Dudley also shares the inverse is also true. If they come into your church, doesn't matter who it is, it doesn't even have to be an elder that comes up to you and says, hi, my name is Greg. It doesn't have to be just one elder. It could be a deacon. It could be a well-intended grandma. If they have a negative interaction with one adult when they enter into your church, guess what they do? Well, they may come back out of loyalty or guilt or whatever, but they've now registered in their mind the same generalization. I went to that church. They were judgmental and legalistic. Man, the whole Seventh-day Adventist Church, not such a good place, right?
we had a young man, and he used to design games. And I love Sean. He'd been raised an Adventist, just one of the coolest guys, and just super giving, willing to help out with the sound system. He helped out with electronics around here, and he was the guy that showed up with the kind of the old, just he just wore cool tennis shoes and kind of old jeans, and then the t-shirt was just kind of logoed up, and it was cool, and then he had tats on him, and then every once in a while he'd put on his best piercings for the day and just come that way, and he was absolutely accepted and loved until he said, let me help. And when he started to help with sound on Sabbath morning, some of the saints decided that they needed to straighten him up and to tell him how he needed to look if he was going to be actively involved in the church. So that was just one of those and at the end of the day, if you think back in the 50s and the 60s, it was coming to church was all about reverence. It was all about the look. It was all about conforming to a certain standard. I know that we had a Korean pastor for quite a while, and I mean, Pastor Kim was a great guy, but from his vantage point, it needed to be a certain way, and if it was outside of that certain way, there was just extreme tension that came with it. And he was a great guy, but it had to be a certain way. And so from some people, they can't see that God can even walk in that door if we don't conform to some standard. And if we're not conforming to that standard, we're driving God out. We're driving God out of our churches. And we don't see ourselves as a place to accept sinners. We see it as a place to house saints. And I just think we need to get away from some of that stuff. But I tell you, one of the biggest challenges and Sherry and I were both very, very involved with the kids and the youth for the whole time we've been here, and we still want to be. But it's the Olsons have been fantastic being engaged, and Laura's very engaged with her kids and stuff. But even parents, there's getting less and less parents that are willing to invest in the overall connection to the youth and to the kids. It's inconvenient. And so it's, and I think that's part of, I don't know what Samuel's thought is, but we've always tried to be really invested in the kids, because at the end of the day, I don't want to get old. I'd rather play with them anyway. But but I think that's one of the things that coming out of COVID, how does that become kind of the mindset? We're going to invest versus we're going to spectate.
Okay, so, and would you share about what your slide is in just a second here?
Yeah, let me.
So we're all here, right? We're all here. We're all here. We're here, right? This group here. Yep. Right? Are we on the same page in regards to that mindset?
Yes.
Because whatever you all decide here, that's, hey friends, it's 4:00 on Sabbath afternoon. You're already disobeying the main law of Adventism. You all should have just barely gotten up off of your nap. Right? Right? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's some of us that are just hanging on for dear life, right? Right? Okay, but we're of that same mindset right now, right? Okay, so the challenge is the cultural transformation is that if you do not have a culture that you're setting into place, guess what happens? The regression to the mean. Okay, so you're going to have other Adventists that come in here that aren't interested in teaching young people in regards to being able to answer difficult questions, that are not going to want to engage with young people before they become young adults, that are not going to ask the opinion of your high school students and so forth. You're going to have people that say, oh, well, I'm coming in here to do certain things, right? Guess what has to happen? We've agreed here, right? That this is our culture. They come in with piercings, they're coming in. Amen. They're coming in and they smell a little bit like they went to Grateful Dead show, or they went to a honky tonk before they came for a shindig. We're just glad that they came, right? But that has to start somewhere, right? So if it starts here, then the cultures can start to shift. And that's the beauty of where you're at right now. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right? That's not the beauty of what he experienced. Tell us about this,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. So what just happened was something that happened here. So this was about 5, 6 years ago when we began our Growing Young journey. And if you want to take out your bags and packets, this is the Growing Young Cohort Summit packet number 2 in your bags. If you don't have one, all right. So if you go to, because we want to not only have a discussion, but a concrete action plan going forward for this North Campus here, Arlington Seventh Adventist Church here. If you want to go to page 7, okay, this is the church transformation plan where it's just asking 3 questions. What is going on? Why is this going on? And where is God leading us? And how might we respond? That's 4 questions, sorry. All right. So what we did at the Atlanta Korean Seventh Adventist Church when we began our Growing Young journey, first and foremost, was like what we had here. We weren't talking to each other. We were talking at each other, but we weren't talking with or to each other. So we created a space, and this was an intergenerational sundown worship that we had every single Sabbath for many, many months. And we invited everybody over snacks, food, drinks, and all we did was ask each other a few questions. What is your favorite church memory? What is your favorite music? What kind of clothes did you wear when you were 13? What was the your favorite brand? And we asked these questions along with how did you come to know Jesus? And I love this picture right here. Check this out. This is a 16, 17, 72, 28, and 81. So picture 70 and 80 something elder with teenagers and 20 somethings talking about these questions. It was the first time that they ever spoke with each other in church. And they've been at the same church for 30 years, like 20, 30 years. For these guys, 16, 17 years, right? They learned each other's names, their stories, what they were into, what their favorite church memory was. And also in this setting, we discussed these questions as to what is going on. And it's different eyes, right? Different perspective from a teenager, 20 something, 70 something, and 80 something. They all are talking and speaking into what is really going on in our church. And why is this going on in our church? Where is God leading our church? And how are we going to respond? So we worked through this for 12 weeks. It was consistent weekly gathering of intergenerations speaking directly about how we can dream together, work together, and move on into the future together. So, like as we are, just witnessing what just happened with, was it 6 or 7? or sorry, 7, 10, 17. How old are you? I'm just saying the age is this number, but we have different generations that are like putting their feedback into the conversation, and something that was non-existent was that which was invisible became visible, right? And this is the beauty of intergenerational dialogues and conversations in communities and spaces where you provide those that creation to take place. So what I want to suggest for you for the North Campus here is it doesn't have to be exactly the same setting, But how can this church create spaces for these generations to come together and share those stories and dream together? And if you did it consistently enough, as you're thinking about a new beginning, new start, new framing, okay, how can we utilize this time, this opportunity for us to start again? This could be a suggestion that I can offer for you guys, because what this generated for us are so many things. Because out of this came what is known as Resurrection 5K. We hosted a 5K with generations collaborating together, raising up to $5,000 for an at risk youth shelter in the heart of Atlanta. Where did that idea come from? From the younger and older generation, right? We actually came up with another idea of coming up with foot massage therapy. So we offered free foot massages every single Sabbath at 2 o'clock, where there were lines as long as like 3 blocks for people from community. Where did that idea come from? From generations talking together. In fact, 15 members of our church became licensed foot massage therapists as a result of this. Like the older generation, they wanted to get involved with the Growing Young journey. And they said, what can we do? We can become foot massage therapists. And they can teach the younger generation. And they all work together. Well, at one point, we had an evangelistic series. We had 50 foot massage tables, right? And you had younger and older generation all giving foot massages to people of the community, that they came to receive the foot massage, attend the seminar, get some goodie bags, and go back. It was the most well-attended evangelistic series ever in the history of Atlanta Korean Seventh Adventist Church. At one point, we peaked at 700 some people. All because, why? It all began with conversations at these tables. God is my witness. There's another, okay, and let me just go ahead and end with this one. There's another idea where the county allows organizations to actually adopt a road. There was a road right in front of us. And we said, okay, one group said, why don't we adopt the road that's in front of our church? This long stretch of maybe like 7 miles. And once a month, all the generations got together, put on our vests, our thing, and we just marched through that whole area. And the county graciously began to market and promote our church on either side of the road with posts and signages. And people began to ask us, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're from the Atlanta Korean Seventh Adventist Church. This is the road that we adopted. And sooner or later, some people actually joined us from their streets. It's like we never cleaned our own street. And then in the midst of what we were doing, oh, we have a VBS coming up, by the way, in 2 weeks. You can send, and we immediately earned their trust because we were cleaning their road. Like and again, that VBS was the most well-attended VBS in our neighborhood because we were serving the community by cleaning the streets every single month. So all that to say, everything begins with generations coming together, talking and dreaming together, and collaborating to make the future happen. So I'm just introducing the possibility of what could happen here at North Campus, regardless of whether it's public campus ministries or there is so much that can be done. Whether it could be shindig, concert, country music, it could be even gaming tournament with the little kids. We actually had a Go tournament in our church. You guys know what Go is? It's a Chinese game, it's like Chinese chess. We had a Go tournament, which which actually superseded and exceeded the one that was held by the Korean Cultural Center. They were like, "What's the secret?" We don't know. But this Go tournament was held in our church, and the people of the community that viewed the Seventh Adventist Church as a church that's, I don't even want to say it. When they saw, especially the Korean community, that we held a Go tournament in our church, they were like, wow, And all the older generation people that are really into Go tournament, they began to come to our church. So there are different avenues and ideas and creativity that can flow with generations, just dialoguing and conversing with each other. And once you begin to dream together, man, sky's the limit. Okay.
Okay, question. Would you be willing to kind of coach up these intergenerational Vespers? Okay, next question. Are we paying you to coach up churches like this? Are we paying your salary to do that type of thing? Are you a conference official?
Yes.
And we're paying conference officials, and it's your responsibility to coach us up in regards to these
Yes.
ideas?
Yes.
I mean, you're a paid person to help us do this.
Yes.
This is what you do all the time.
Yes.
And you're going to help us all be foot massages if that works in our context.
Whatever you guys invite me to in your journey, I'm willing to support, give my support. So here's what can be offered. In order for you guys to actually launch something into motion, for this kind of conversation to happen, right? Because you're already a church that's enrolled in the Growing Young Adventist journey, there's already funding that's available through union and the conference, right? You're already sponsored into this journey, and I am the rep for both Texas Conference and the union to help you guys go through the journey. So, whichever item or initiative or movement that you want to make, if you would continue to communicate that with me, right? I will do everything in my power to support you and to make that a reality, right?
Did you just say that he has money?
Not too much money, but
You didn't tell me you had money. Okay, so you can not only coach in regards to contouring these type of intergenerational elements, you can not only help individuals like Samuel get a shindig or foot massages or a Titanic
tournament,
go on here.
right?
But you actually have funding?
Just a little bit, but we do have funding. Yes, yes.
Man, I'm glad we invited you over here to the
Little by little, because the Texas Conference as a administration has decided to be a conference that grows young, there is a dedicated allotted funding within the Young Adult Ministries Department for growing young Adventists. And I can utilize that funding to support little ventures, right? And it can't be, I guess, too much. It can't be like a lot, but it could be seed money for you guys to do something with it, right? And inside your bags, there's another guide. Okay, so these are some steps that you can take for the Growing Young Adventist journey, and already within your packet of Growing Young Adventists, you have a assessment that you can take with Growing Young. Your entire church can take it to figure out your reality as a church. Okay, and then there is a season of prayer that you guys can go together, and this is also available on a PDF linkable file, so that all the resource can be accessed. Right? I can actually give that to the elders or the leaders of this church and make that available. So, yeah, anything that's on this particular card here, you guys can utilize them to proceed and begin the journey. And any questions you might have or any requests that you have regarding what the journey might include, you can contact me, right? You can, and I'll make that available. All right.
We got gifts for the bags.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah.
Like Halloween. Okay. If you already have it,
Listening to raps verbally.
Okay, all right, Samuel, I'm super excited about what you shared. In addition to his funding, okay, I'm really excited about this. The main campus, we just got approved, okay? We just got approved I don't know what we're gonna call it, but it's kind of like Shark Tank.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. So here's the thing: is that up to a $200 grant, up to $200, we're encouraging youth and young adults to come up with their own outreach or evangelism ideas, to which they pitch it. Yeah, they'll pitch it, and after they pitch it, then the amount that will be doled out to them, they'll have to turn in receipts and all that kind of stuff. But then that $200 is theirs to do with it what they will. Okay, I'm just giving you the heads up on that because it's not going to come until the fall.
Okay.
But if there's an idea that you're saying, hey, you know what, let's work on this idea or whatever, in addition to his funding, we have that Shark Tank funding. So know that that's something that's up the pipe. Okay. One more thing that I'll share with you. We just did this in partnership with Southwestern Adventist University. It's the deep calling journey. Okay. So it's something that our pastoral interns have done. Let me give you the gist for it. Because of the challenges that you guys face in regards to critical mass, all of these small groups that are being run this summer are going to be run from our campus, but also off of the internet, so it's available wherever you are. Okay, so here's the devotional that goes along with it. I will send you the URL link. Where you put this in the bags?
Yeah, there was one in my bag.
Someone just handed it to you? Do you have one in your bag?
Oh, yeah.
And then Jason, you just handed it.
Yeah, Jason just handed me that, didn't you?
Justin.
Okay, so I'll give you, instead, I don't want to be outdone, so I'm going to give you this is the journal for the summer.
Cool.
Okay, so if you guys have questions about it, your small groups can already start here this summer. If you want to start your own, I'll bring you a whole kit. But if you want to join in with a group that one of our young adults is already leading.
Yeah.
How do we hear about that?
Okay, well, this is the thing, is that we're still umbilically very narrowly connected. But hopefully, as we build relationship, you'll get all of the feeds of what we're doing. Okay. This starts this summer. I'll be speaking about it this weekend, so that you'll find out more about it. But basically, this is the deal in regards to this. The intent is that young adults and young professionals are leading it, but it's for all generations to be able to attend. Okay. So,
Actually, you involved with the AV kind of strategy and stuff like that. I do think we need to have kind of a conversation, and because I think we need to lose the Lewisville identity and have the North Campus identity off of your website.
ooh.
And it allows much better branding and gives better scale to it.
Okay. So this is the basic gist here. I know I'm downloading a lot of stuff here because I want to be respectful of your time. Is that this is our goal with our entire pastoral staff. Okay. Whatever you need, we can help. Okay. We don't.
Telling Eugene about this.
Well, this is the thing. Is Eugene's right now completely zoned into his demon,
Movie. Yeah.
right? So, and he's got to get out from where he is to get over here.
Right.
But the whole culture of YG, the whole culture of Arlington, the whole culture of our children's ministry are all aligned under the same mission that Growing Young emulates. The thing is, the nice about Growing Young is that it's boots on the ground. It's not just, okay, we're in this concept. You see mission statements that no one knows. So our hope is that it'll create an opportunity for you all to start boots on the ground as opposed to start conceptually. Okay. All right. Let me see. Did I give you everything I was saying I was going to give you? Okay. So the basic gist is, I think you guys are coming to campus next weekend.
There's many of us that can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think our biggest challenge is, you can see, we don't have a lot of backfill right now. So we'll probably be down there in the afternoon.
This is what I'll share with you. Whatever you have, as opposed to going. Have you been to our campus?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
never been.
Okay. All right. So when you come to campus, if you come to campus, as opposed to seeing it as, oh, wow, right? Or, oh, ooh, right? Say, I like that. I don't like that. I like this, I want to find out about that, right? So when you come away from the campus, our goal here is for you all, we deal with legalistic people too, okay, right? So it's just the reality. When Adventists get together, you're gonna have some folks that are still, and we're all broken, right? So quite honestly, I'm super excited for you because setting culture with 12 or 20 is easier than maintaining culture with 2,500. Right?
You can establish it.
Oh,
It's
move it.
made a difference, the smallness, we're way more family oriented.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what Justin said. He said he came here, he already sensed the vibe, right? All right, so the vibe's already there.
My vibe senses are pretty good too.
Hey, that's
But
great.
the vibe is already there, but the challenge is that it's just who you are.
Well, the ones that were against that, the naysayers, they've left.
Well, I will share with you that whatever vibe that you continue here, you're going to, as you become from 12 or 20 to 40 to 100, you're going to have to work to maintain that vibe. Because the challenge is if you don't maintain that vibe, what Andy Stanley says is mission leaks. So you could have started, because it's what Samuel said, you could have started with a good vibe and it was very impressive to Justin, but in 2 years, if you don't maintain mission, but imagine that with 2,500 people. Imagine that with 3 services and people running to and fro and so forth. It is crazy. So as far as the construct of what you have here, you guys can decide today to do whatever Samuel says and do it. I have to run it through 2 committees, finance committee and so forth, just to get that idea through. And that's why Jason's been so helpful because he understands our vibe. And so we're able to help the larger churches. Oh, okay, yeah, that's what we're about.
Yeah, it's funny.
Okay.
We used to have Gary Blanchard as our pastor,
Uh-huh.
and he gave out to all of us that were leaders the book "Sacred Cows Make Great Burgers."
Yeah.
He was a vegetarian. No, I don't know Gary that well. I once.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was my mistake too.
Because he was just had a heart for the youth. And he tried to keep it relevant in the declarations oriented different songs that were.
Kind of helped because it worked for him because he was not old.
No,
He was a young guy, so I mean, he
but he
wasn't.
was older than I was at the time. I would say he was in his 30s, 40, and I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
And still, I felt like he was a relevant guy.
So he still could be if he was around. It's too bad he's not.
No, he
Well,
could.
but see, this is the thing. You all have to train your pastor,
Oh, yeah.
right?
But be real candid, I think that was when the brainstorming started happening. You guys can get a shared pastor, and we'll just glop you up with another church. And then we were gonna take on, because we keep on changing our personality based on the pastor that we showed up.
Right.
And so the conversation started happening. It says, real candidly, what church do we align with?
Yeah.
And what program is really that fits Lewisville? And when we were praying about it, and you guys were praying about it, we're looking about starting a second campus, and it all came together like at the right time.
Yeah.
It was like, this isn't a human thought. This is God kind of moving pieces at the right time.
Well, I see a lot of providence all the way around. So.
Yeah.
Hey, are we done, Elder Yang?
Yeah. So are we wrapping up or?
I don't know. Are we wrapping up?
I know
Well,
we've got to go.
It's about 4:30. It's been 2 hours.
Our Sunday church comes at 5 and practices music for their service tomorrow.
No, they've got great praise if you want to hang out.
Okay. Well, I mean, if there's any follow-up questions or comments, we can take it. If not, I would love for us to get a group picture and then do a final closing prayer together.
Yeah.
But it's up to you guys.
What, a picture of the?
Picture.
of the
Whether
person?
we're done. The next week's in here at 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be 5. So let's go ahead and quickly gather.
Can we take a picture with this and then could you put up the North Campus photo again? The title? Not right now. You want this one first, right?
Yeah. So let's stand right here in front of this.
Tom, you want to take a picture?
Who's taking the
Yeah.
photo?
Stand in 2 rows.
You want Tom to take a picture?
Come on up.
He's a professional.
No. Oh, he really? Okay.
Oh, he's amazing. You gotta see the picture taken of his daughter today.
Come on up for the picture.
Actually, if you guys can be in the picture with the shirts.
With shirts?
Bring the shirts.
Wear the shirts?
No, don't wear the shirts. Just bring the shirts and put it up.
Wow, shameless branding.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
Put the shirt on for the photo?
I pushed my bag to the limits.
I'm not wearing.
He said don't wear the shirt.
Don't wear the shirt. My
Yeah,
dress
just
is
put
too
it
thick to put it
like
on.
this, right?
Oh, we're supposed to bring the t-shirts, huh?
See, this is how we get strap security. It shows that he presented to us.
Oh.
Kind of like selling those vacuum things. Show up at the door.
Everything I'm doing, I learned from D.L. Martin. So, this is
Who's taking
You're
the
gonna take
picture?
it from there? You take it from here? Come on, come in the picture.
I can take a picture.
Hey, guys, come in. In the picture. Bring your bags. Bring your bags into the picture.
Sure, you want to join? I can take a picture.
I'm taller than you, Greg. I'm taller than Greg.
Do you?
Samuel's taller than Greg.
Deals, right?
Look at that.
Samuel, we just found out this week Samuel's taller than Jeff. Yeah, this happened.
Once more, 1, 2. Okay, and once more. Okay.
Okay, good. All right.
What did you come in?
Thank you very much. Great. Is yours?
My bag on the other side.
Jason has the keys.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and pray together before we take off.
Are you gonna be back next week or?
I'm gonna be down there.
Oh, we're gonna try and be out down.
You guys land, sure, but I'm gonna, because I only have their email, I'll send you the links to the variety of things I've shared. Oh, good. But the thing is that when you guys look over there, you probably not gonna know what's all in the nooks and crannies, so just ask the questions and stuff, but whatever we can do. I'll tell you right now, Jason, how long have you been doing ministry? 6 years. So if I don't know where it is, Jason knows. There's like holes in the church that the media people don't even talk about. They call it a portion of behind the Baptist.
Middle Earth.
There is stuff in there that I don't know. But so
Well, that, we had that up above.
yeah, so whatever you guys need, let's talk.
If you're looking for the Smithsonian of Casey audio visual,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
all
Oh,
up there.
yes.
There may be an 8-track up there, I can't,
But we got it.
you got one too.
Let me get that up.
All right, let's have, Jason, I take 3 breaths.
for having us.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate everything that you told us and giving me the.
Thank you.
I don't handle it well. It's not just the navigation, but
In a bad way.
all right, I'm gonna go put this back.
It was such a great thing. Within 13 years, we took that small group. Like, right? I mean, at times you're like, you we're still doing this, you know.
Thank you for teaching Grace Ann today. Okay. Okay, well, cool. We'll keep working on this.
At least 20 now. But,
Well, that's right. You had an apprentice up here today.
yes. She started her own Bible study on Friday nights. She and a girlfriend of hers. She said, "Hey, we used to have study on Friday nights." And it was more of a social. We did study something in the Bible for the first half an hour to an hour was always had food. So yeah, I'm pretty used to cooking for people for years. Something to eat. You know, like a light supper and there's lots of fellowship and some study.
Bye. See you.
It was really, it's funny, my dad actually was an atheist growing up, he's a scientist, and he eventually decided from studying the human body, he's an engineer, electronic engineer, but once he started studying the body for just nutrition and health purposes, he came to the conclusion that there's no way that there isn't a God. He now believes in God.
There's so many things to teach to young people. Actually, I believe that even church responsibilities to make lessons, scientific lessons.
But seeing that happen from the Bible said, who was even an atheist? He's not even know, he's not an agnostic. Not even know that he was, God's prayer. My mom was an atheist, so she raised us, but interesting, years us came to a similar conclusion to looking at science around you. How God has
Nice meeting you.
Yes, hope to see you again. When you needed a fix, you needed like a really cool music fix. Especially my son, and I were like, very close to his address.
I'm actually gonna leave these back here for any other board members that didn't come. You can actually share with them, so I'll just leave that here. If you need help,
Okay.
I'll-
Okay. Hello, we're just leaving. Yes, okay. Thank you.
What's your